So you guys know I've got a K40 laser cutter. This is part of my current project, which is to mount the Raspberry Pi inside the laser cutter and potentially modify the control panel. I'm going to leave the control panel for another video at some point, but I'm currently a laser cutter mount for the a laser cutter mount to mount the control boards inside here to the main mounting post that's provided, you know, in the K40. I don't know how well you can see that, the lighting's terrible. What I'm going to do is pull that panel out now and take the measurements that I actually need, because when I designed this panel I resized it in Inkscape and had some unintentional effects. So I'm going to take this panel out, measure the boards, redesign it. I know that I want the Raspberry Pi mounted as far this way as I possibly can, so I'm going to make it so I can put either a zip tie around the Pi to hold it onto the board. I'm going to mount a USB hub somewhere here, and so I can put the memory stick in without having to mess about inside. I've got a wireless keyboard. I'm going to cut this down to all the important bits later, but that is the current stuff that I'm working on in the workshop this weekend. This is the mount inside the machine. I'm going to continue to use these two mounting points to attach this to there. It's still quite awkward to get around the back of this for the zip ties and putting things in the right location. The Raspberry Pi needs to go as far to this side as possible, so down here I need to have the mounting locations for the Raspberry Pi, and then as far this way as possible I need to have the mounting locations for the control board. The reason being is I need this space here for the HDMI and USB-C that powers the Raspberry Pi. I don't know if this is the final solution. I might be able to buy some adapter that allows me to break out the Raspberry Pi in a more convenient fashion, but for the moment it's what I've got, so this is what I'm working with. I'm going to take this design back onto the PC because I've scaled it and didn't realise what I'd done at the time. Had completely messed up the mounting locations for this board, and I had to remove the two holes at the bottom because the other board wasn't going to fit. Anyway, right, back to the drawing board, over to the computer to redesign this. Right, okay, I've got the design loaded in my design software, which is Inkscape. I'm going to make some modifications to this. This is the incorrect design. I need to sort it out and make it compatible with the arrangement that I know that I need now. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get the calipers out and take some measurements. Right, if you're a maker or you're a YouTuber and you're thinking about making stuff and you don't have yourself a set of calipers yet, get yourself a set of calipers. These are some of the most useful tools you can buy when it comes to ordering stock, referencing things, checking sizes, checking you know, tolerances, measuring specific, you know, where you need a very accurate measurement. These were dirt cheap. These are work zone digital calipers. I've got some analog calipers, but the digital ones are very useful indeed. Okay, so what I've done now is I've removed the incorrect mounting points and screw holes. I've left the two remaining ones in that are bang on correct, and I've got the dimensions for everything that I need to add. So I'm going to make a dummy control board, I'm going to make a dummy Raspberry Pi, and then we're going to design the mounts onto this board. So I'll get busy with that. And okay, so what I've done now is I've sketched in the Raspberry Pi and the control board. Now what I'm going to do is take the take this design and put it onto the laser cutter, and we're going to get it cut. But if you look here, I've changed the mounting position. My idea is to use zip ties around the boards here to fix them in place. I have measured the mounting holes, but it's always a little bit tricky to try and get that working. So what I'm going to do now is get this cut, and let's throw it in there and see what happens. And this here is what the final cut file looks that I'm going to be sending to the laser cutter. I've just included this one extra mounting point just in case this one gets in the way of the USBs with the way I've got this set up. I don't think it will, but we'll see anyway. That one's there as a failsafe. Okay, so I've got this set to my settings. I'm doing 10 millisecond. We're going to do 8 passes. This is 6mm ply. It's pretty awkward material to work with on the K40. When I don't want to turn the power up particularly much, I'm running it at 7 milliamps, and all that's left for me to do is click cut. I need to get extra. Okay, extraction is now running. Laser is now cutting. One day I will put an air assist on this machine. I've got a compressor sitting in the workshop doing nothing at the moment. That is the first pass, and we shall come back in a little while. Okay, so extraction on. Okay, so there's the old control panel, rubbish. Here is the new control panel. Because I had to use multiple passes to cut this, as it's not very flat, and it's also quite thick for the machine. This is, I just measured it, it's 5mm, it should be 6mm, but 5mm, and 8 passes, and I think it was done on about the 6th, but so let's clean it up. For those of you that don't know, cleaning up a piece of laser cut wood is as easy as just getting a damp rag and giving it a good wipe. Which usually removes any charring. If you're working on a really high-end piece and you can't afford to replace the stock, what you can do is you can use acetone to remove the charring as well, and also RPI. But I find that just water, really good wipe with an old rag and some water, works well. So I can already see this being a much better solution. I've preemptively fed some zip ties into this mount that I've made, because I know that it's going to be a right pain in the arse working with this when it's inside the machine. One for the Raspberry Pi, one for the control board. I'm going to now mount this inside the Raspberry Pi and see if we can get everything looking nice. So I've actually got the Raspberry Pi and the control board fitted now. I'm relatively happy with the result.
Next jobby is to clean this thing out because it's absolutely filthy, and add a power supply inside here so I can totally encapsulate the Raspberry Pi with the laser cutter and not have to use anything else for powering the Pi. And then probably got some USB things that I can do in here in the air assist. Is all installed. I have given it a bit of a clean out. I'm looking at the cables at the back now, seeing if I can install a power supply in here to run the Raspberry Pi, and also power some other stuff in here. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, the USB hub. I've got a USB hub for this. Sorry if that's flashing. Right, so anyway, the Raspberry Pi is mounted nice and cleanly. The control board is also mounted nice and cleanly. The routing the cables is much to be desired, but that will be sorted in future iterations. And I think that's enough on this project for today, and something that I'll probably come back to in the future and show you guys. Right, peace, have fun hacking as always, and I should be back really soon.